So it really is, thinking it is in my selfish interest to start to think and present myself that I'm already operating. And like one thing I did in my 22 years at FedEx is I'll be in my boss's office and I'll say, Ken, what are you working on? What is on your desk? He said, Madan, I got these things. He said, let me help you. So it may have nothing to do my direct responsibility, and it is something which my peer or somebody else is doing, like he had 4 directors working for him. I was one of them. And so I wanted to learn, and, I would look at it and then give him some ideas and something there. And so that was the reason when this big long-range planning position came up, even though I was director of logistics, which is more of a support function, and here it is working with the founder looking at FedEx 2010, 15, 20 years ago, China, India. But he said, Madan, I like the way you think. And he recommended me to the founder, and Fred agreed that I can move into that position. So it is recognizing that we really don't have to do any earth-shattering things, that we have the capability, believe in ourselves, and start presenting yourself that, I'm interested in learning not just about my function, but other areas.
Oh, Madan, this is great information that you've been sharing, and we need to take a short break now, but stay tuned, everyone, because we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and I'll be talking with Madan about what his process is for generating new ideas. Stay tuned.
Imagine accelerating your career in just one day. Imagine overcoming months or even years of being stuck and moving your career to a whole new level. That's the power of a VIP day with Bonnie. Imagine accelerating your career in just one day. Bonnie's strategy intensive days give you months of coaching and a one-day long strategy session. You will leave with new energy and focus for your career and a concise, targeted, custom navigation plan. In one intensive day, you'll discover your unique value proposition and message and create a specific plan to use your strengths and talent to catapult your career. For more information on VIP Strategy Intensive Days or to schedule a complimentary 30-minute session, please call 774-563-8176 or email info@thepoliticsofpromotion.com.
Want to know where you can hear GPS Your Career with Bonnie Marcus? Well, that's easy. You can tune in to Bonnie via Clear Channel's iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, and at bmajor.org. Now, back to Bonnie Marcus and GPS Your Career.
This is Bonnie Marcus, and today my guest is Madan Birla, and we are talking about how to really kick your career up, jumpstart your career by coming up with creative ideas and making yourself valuable to the business and to the people that make the decisions in business. My guest, Madan Birla, is author of Creativity and Innovation, 9 Lessons from Nature for Enterprise Growth and Career Success. And Madan, you talk in your book about a 4-step process about how to generate some new ideas. I mean, you say that it's a little bit like connecting the dots. Can you give us a little idea of what that process is, where people can begin to think
Sure.
like this?
Yeah, if you look at, any business startup, FedEx got started when Fred Smith was going to school at Yale, and he was writing a term paper for one of his undergraduate classes, and he was a student pilot when he was in Memphis, when he was in high school, and so he said, what if there was an airline dedicated to express cargo? This was mid-60s, and he could see that there will be a need for time-definite critical service for medical supplies, for computer parts, and other critical documents. So, or you look at Netflix. Netflix got started when Reed Hastings he had rented a Apollo 13 VHS tape, and he was returning it. And the young lady said, Mr. Hastings, you know, you are late. He says, yeah, I know. He says, you are 40 days late, and there is a $40 fine. And he said, well, yeah, you know, okay. He pays the fine. He's driving home. And he said, you know, what if there was a DVD rental service like a health club? You pay one fee every month, and whether you go every day to the health club or twice a day or once a month, so that was the genesis of Netflix. So when we look at all these, any industry you can look at, these are not anything that somebody went on the Himalayas and meditated for a year to come up with a great idea. These are just connecting dots. So if you create some conditions for what-if thinking, the mind will generate these ideas. That's its nature. So when you look at it, it's connecting dots the way they have not been connected before. And in most cases, the dots are from different fields. So he took the health club and connected with the need for a rental service DVD and came up with Netflix. Or Fred Smith looking at the critical need in a logistics environment and his interest in airplanes. So what if is, so before you can connect dots, you must have the dots being the knowledge base. So my expertise is developing supply chain, global supply chain for limited dresses or IBM or HP. So when somebody gives me a problem, our brain is like a hard drive. So it does a brain scan, and based on the knowledge and experience we have, we connect some dots and say, you know, this is what we can do for you, Bill. So the first requirement is the more knowledge you have, more dots you have, more connections the mind can make. It is like neurons running around and making connection. The second requirement is imagination. As Einstein said, that imagination is more important than knowledge, because typically when we run into a problem, our mind takes the path of least resistance and says, 1, 2, 3, this is how we jump into how to. So creative problem solving requires exploring what if before we jump into how to. So we got knowledge base and we got imagination. Then the third requirement for the mind is what I call creative tension. And the best way to think about it is like a violin. It has a string, and if there is no tension, there is no music. But if it is too much tension, the string breaks. So what I call nominal stress. So the model I'm reviewing with you, Bonnie, and in the book is MINT, M-I-N-T, minting ideas. So sometimes you come out of shower in the morning and say, aha, because the mind had this creative tension, some problem was bothering us, and the mind was relaxed and neurons were connecting dots, and during the shower, then the fourth condition is time. We must have time to think. So if you look at Google, they allow their engineers 20% of the time, do whatever you want to do, and 90% of their innovation is somebody is in New York and saying, you know, what if there was something where I can look at where all the Indian restaurants are, you know, that is the Google Maps. So you must allow time. So if you're running around in busy meetings all day, you know, where is the time to think? That's where I bring in nature, and if you have time, we can talk more about it, that really out in the nature is not just refreshes you, but it puts you in a position for your mind to start playing with your thoughts and ideas.
Okay, so let's go through this 4-step process because I think this is so helpful. Knowledge, building that knowledge base. For anyone who really wants to take their career to the next level, they need to go beyond their immediate job description and figure out what the business is, the vision of the whole business, the mission of the business, what the success metrics look like. They need to figure out where the business needs to go, how key people in that organization, what they value and what they need. So it's like, you know, it's like gathering. It's gathering all this information is the starting point.
And
right?
I would say that not just your business. The beauty of the mind is that it stores all the knowledge, and whether it uses it in 1 week, 6 weeks, or 6 months. So have knowledge about other things. You know, not just your business. because most of the time, all these ideas, and I can give you example from FedEx or other, like Ford Motor Company, Henry Ford got the idea of assembly line. He was walking through a stockyard at the Chicago train station, and he came back to Detroit and said, what if there was a car assembly line like the stockyard, the carcass is moving. So the mind, and you look at the printing press, when Gutenberg said, what if, we had a printing press like the wine press where you put the grapes and you are squeezing. So in today's, pursue your hobbies and your interest, any knowledge, and you would connect these dots. Like I look at, we have this 5-star award at FedEx we get in stock options, which allowed me to retire early. Because I just, looked at a situation, and I said, from manufacturing where I came, I said, what if you look at just-in-time inventory management? They said, Madan, we are service. We don't know whether we're going to grow 20% or 30%. And so we were throwing away a lot of material when we were changing our marketing product and services. But just having that conversation got the people together and adapted and came up with a solution which saved the company $100,000 every time we introduce a new product. So just to take your, business knowledge, I would say any other knowledge you can, read magazines. Like Bill Gates, he said that when he gets a Time or Newsweek, he just doesn't read business and technology. He reads from cover to cover, whether it is sociology or health or, other things, because the mind will connect dots.
And on the second step in your process, imagination. I think this is really important because, and I can certainly, Madan, I can identify with this. Somebody comes to me with some kind of a business issue or whatever. I am immediately trying to solve the problem. I immediately go into action, just what you said you should probably not do immediately. We're always looking for that how-to. How can I solve that without giving ourselves some time and space, as you indicated, is important.
That is, so we need to understand that that's our nature. We like to immediately, but if you say, certainly there are times when I have to make a decision if there is an airplane issue or some critical customer, but most times if you say that, we are looking at a creative problem-solving process, so in that process, say, before we jump into how-to, let's take, half hour or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, explore what if, and engage the entire team into a what if process. So people ask me, what is the key to, FedEx becoming a global icon? And, Fred Smith would say discretionary effort, that people have always more to give, which is not just hours in the day, but their ideas and commitment. So this long-range planning meeting, which I used to meet with Fred and 8 of us every third Tuesday for 4 hours with Fred Smith for 9 years, this was a what-if meeting. We would have 8 or 10 strategic what-if. What if we look at a hub in Paris or Dubai? What if we look at this airplane? What if we... So this was all what-if. And out of that would come out, okay, this strategy looks good. And then we would have a meeting at a next level down, and then I would ask my manager to have this what-if meeting. So everybody is engaged into looking at, certainly we are, sorting packages this way. What if we use automation? So the key to FedEx success is that we were able to take technology, which nobody had applied to logistics business, and whether it is tracking, you can track your packages or sorting. So we just have to make it a habit. And I use stories, just one last story. The president of University of Pennsylvania, Amy, and I read that she has a meeting once a month with her staff. The title of the meeting is Idea Meeting. And he says, all we talk about is, what if we look at this thing at University of Penn differently? So you just have to create that habit that before we jump into how-to, let us explore what ifs.
And as you were giving those examples, Madan, I was thinking that whether it's FedEx or University of Pennsylvania, there are some work environments that really foster creativity.